Thanks for joining us. I am Cheryl Darrup-Boychuck, head of USjournal and Funds V. Our most obvious update is that we recently launched a fresh, mobile-friendly design featuring high-exposure banners at the top of the page. You'll notice a very clean interface with our simple selection function, front and center, so prospective students can choose their academic and degree preferences immediately from our home page. Further down on each home page within our family of 16 independent multilingual domains, we have rotating internal banners on the left, leading to those advertisers' campus profiles within USjournal. To the right are external rotating banners, leading to the .edu domains of those advertisers. In the middle, we added rotating videos. For our current advertisers, we're offering free placement of your multilingual videos on our corresponding homepage. For example, Finley had a brief promotional video in Mandarin, so that's now featured at usacademics-cn.com. All of our videos, in English or any other language, lead to a separate page with a prominent inquiry form, encouraging students to inquire about that particular program. Here's obviously another example, courtesy of the University of Indianapolis, in English. Now, current advertisers may have noticed some of our inquiries with just a few fields completed on your weekly or monthly spreadsheet. If that's the case, you know that prospective student originated from your video page or your profile page, as we see here with inquiries generated on October 22nd and 27th. If most of the fields are completed, that means the student selected a particular academic program from your specific campus and completed a longer form. So this is the form that students see after selecting a program from your academic listing. Not terribly onerous, but it is longer than the 4 fields students will see on your profile page or video page. While we're on the subject of inquiries, USjournal has always been focused on quality over quantity. We will never generate 1 million inquiries for our advertisers, but the ones we do generate have specifically expressed interest in your program. So here's one example of an inquiry that came through last week. I always encourage our advertisers to consider the right metrics when measuring the success of a campaign, which isn't always an exact science. It's actually frightening how our competitors call us to buy our leads so that they can feed them to their own advertising campuses. Of course, our answer has always been no. We have a very strict privacy policy, and we're not interested in selling our leads. So just to give you an idea of annual average numbers of click-throughs in yellow and submitted inquiries in red of our advertisers with different levels of multilingual campaigns. So not surprisingly, the more languages promoted and the more degrees listed, the higher the level of engagement. So a French campaign generates more inquiries than any other language within our family of domains, primarily originating in France, but also coming from French-speaking Africa. So French and Arabic speakers happen to be more likely to complete our online forms compared with, for example, Turkish, Vietnamese, or Indonesian speakers, who are more likely to click through to a campus's .edu domain. For prospective advertisers, you're most welcome to view our list of current advertisers and let me know which one most closely resembles your institution, and I can run their numbers from last year. Just let me know. So getting back to the numbers game in international student recruitment, let's talk about social media. We've taken a very deliberate approach to Facebook and Twitter. So you'll find these links, by the way, at the lower right of every page within usjournal.com. So we just brought on a new social media director last month who has taken us from a few hundred likes to more than 12,000 in just a few weeks. So that's a very fresh pool of likes and followers. Our approach is to feature one of our advertisers per day, plus special events and other issues as necessary. We've linked up with all of our current advertisers, so we'll continuously and proactively pull content from your channels. Of course, if you have news specifically geared to prospective students outside of the U.S., please send it along. Striking images are always winners. On the client-facing side of the equation, you can always keep up with our latest initiatives via LinkedIn. I regularly post my various presentations on SlideShare, and also I know many of you are familiar with our funds verification initiative, FundsV. Several USjournal clients have participated in our beta, for which we will be forever grateful. And over the next few months, we'll be offering our USjournal clients special access to our database of FundsV certified students through some special channels that we'll be introducing, so stay tuned. I realize that not all of you are familiar with FundsV, so here's the 30-second intro. About 8 years ago, our USjournal clients said, "Look, we appreciate the inquiries you generate for us, but is there any way you can qualify those students financially earlier in the process so we can dedicate our limited resources to students most likely to be approved for their student visas?" Now that a significant portion of banking data around the world lives online, then yes, we've developed a solution. Obviously, there's a whole lot more involved. You're most welcome to join our next webinar. The latest itinerary is always listed on the About page within fundsv.com. So one very relevant tangent of our whole FundsV experience revolves around empowering users to point their online data from point A to point B, encouraging students to proactively control their digital data. So we're highly recommending that campuses dedicate a portion of your orientation to teaching new students, both domestic and international, about protecting their digital footprint. It seems to me that students would welcome such up-to-date information. These statistics from staysafeonline.org confirm that millennials don't trust the government to keep them safe online, and 87% of millennials believe that the individual user is responsible for keeping the internet safe. So our students are aware of the risks, yet they fall short in actual implementation of keeping themselves safe. So they must be reminded and taught. There is a treasure chest of resources at staysafeonline.org that you can use for your orientations. And they actually provide a reason to celebrate Data Privacy Awareness every year on January 28th. And that's really how we like to roll. You know, we have a limited number of advertisers, fewer than 100, so we can actually pay attention to what you need and respond accordingly. Another example of that has been the evolution of our fair schedule that features more than 300 events around the world that promote U.S. education. It's become one of our most popular pages within our site for both students and colleagues who are planning their itineraries for their next recruitment cycle. So this is another example of industry collaboration. We can complement your other marketing initiatives. If you or your colleagues are traveling overseas to recruit, we can send invitations to that event on your behalf to students from that region within our database. Just give us a month's notice or more, and we'll push that content out via several channels at no additional cost to our advertisers. We also, of course, pay close attention to emerging trends in the industry and specifically to the habits of our target demographic. So no surprises here. More of our users are accessing our family of sites via their mobile devices. Just to give you an idea of how our sites are viewed, mobile versus desktop, the darker blue represents mobile users, which only slightly lags behind the aqua-shaded desktop users. Given these statistics, it's really important that your sites are mobile ready if and when our users at USjournal click through to your .edu domains. So about a year ago, when we started working on our redesign, we deliberately formatted it with mobile and handheld devices in mind. I'm sure many of your campuses have worked through a similar exercise. So our format scales well to any size of device. I know that here's just a few screenshots of our homepage in English. Another trend that we've always watched closely, online language usage. Back in 1996, when USjournal first went online, English speakers accounted for probably 80%. That clearly is no longer the case. To recruit international students, you need to consider prospects whose native language is not English. Only about a quarter, 26.8%, of all online users now speak English as a native language. Chinese ranks a very close second, coming in at 24.2% of all online users. So depending on your recruitment goals and corresponding strategy, it may make sense to promote your programs in all 16 of USjournal's translated sites, as we see in this example of Southern Illinois University in Carbondale. Other campuses choose to promote specific programs to targeted language markets, as is the case with Columbia University's School of Continuing Education. Clearly, not all campuses can support inquiries in so many different languages. I'd argue that you still need to consider the language requirements of people within the sphere of influence of your prospective students. Indiana University handles this brilliantly. We recently completed a 7-language project for them, focusing on parent-facing information. We can certainly tap into our professional teams to handle your translation needs as well, with your satisfaction guaranteed. Of course, if you purchase language campaigns with us, you may use that translated profile any way you see fit. You can also choose our translation-only services, and our rates are very reasonable, so contact us for details. What's next? On your to-do list for prospective advertisers, take a look at our space reservation form and give me some times that you'll be available to schedule a call. For our current advertisers, make sure our social media channels are connected. Send us your multilingual video URLs, and also send us your overseas travel itinerary so we can invite students again to that event on your behalf. For everyone, do consider multilingual promotions, however limited, and even if you don't have that language supported within your office to respond to telephone calls, just manage those expectations early in the process so no one is disappointed, or to minimize any disappointment. Join our next FundsV webinar. Details are always found on the About page of fundsv.com. Do consider a cybersecurity component in your orientation. Connect with us on LinkedIn, Twitter, SlideShare, and you can review this session and others at slideshare.net. I certainly appreciate your time, and whether you're a current advertiser or a prospective advertiser, let us know what we can do for you.